Hey, good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to the Online Green Profits Power Hour. My name is Marcia Neufeld. I want to thank you all for coming tonight. This Power Hour is held every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. And so, yeah, this is the place to be on your Wednesday nights. And it's great that you invite others to join us and learn from what we have here. So I'll just go over a little bit of the format of the call. Your host for the evening. As I said, my name is Marcia Neufeld. I come to you from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and my partner there is Karen Poor, and she's from Kansas City, Missouri. So we will be your hosts for the training this evening, and I'll just kind of give you a rundown, a little bit of the format. We're going to start off with some member news and updates. Then Karen's going to give us a tip of the week, and I'll come back and give you some mindset, and then we've got a training. We are super excited to have launched our Posting for Profits. You will have found that in the members area of Online Green Profits. So if you haven't had a chance to go check that out, make sure that you go head over there. Karen has worked hard on that, and I'm super proud of her and all that she has put into that. So we are going to be addressing some really fun stuff tonight. So that being said, what is Online Green Profits? If you are here for the first time tonight, maybe joining us, or you are going to be watching this in the future in the back office, as a recorded training, I just want to let you know that Online Green Profits, a little bit about what we are about. Karen and I started Online Green Profits because we had a huge desire to share with other people what we had learned through the years. And so we needed a platform to be able to do that. And so we created Online Green Profits. So it really is a marketing and training platform designed for other people online who want to learn how to market the correct way. It also carries with it a funded proposal that helps you create a predictable monthly income. And it also teaches you how to create multiple streams of income. So we are hoping that by what you learn here and through this platform, you will shorten your learning curve, and you will have success a whole lot sooner. So that being said, I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight, and I'm going to turn the call over to my sidekick, Karen, and she's going to give us a tip of the week. So Karen, I'm going to turn it over to you. Are you there with us?
Hello guys, thanks Marcia, and thank you for joining us. I am here this week with an actually really simple tip of the week, but you will be surprised how much time it is going to save you. And you're going to laugh that it took me this long to figure it out. So this week, our tip of the week, I want you to think about how much time you actually spend doing the same thing over and over. One of the things that you will do throughout your entire internet marketing career is set up profiles. You set up social media profiles, you set up article profiles, you set up profiles when you set up press releases, all these different things. Now, a lot of them you could leave blank, but I wouldn't advise that you would. If someone stumbles upon something that you've written, you want to have a good profile so that that will lead them back to your website. So anytime you set up anything and you don't take advantage of that profile that you just have to set up one time, you're losing out on some traffic. So I will confess that I spent a couple of years filling out all these profiles, not even thinking about really. And over time, this will literally add up to hours. So I came up with this, I will not even lie, about a year ago, when I should have come up with it years ago, making a social media or profile cheat sheet. And what I do is I just have a notepad saved on my computer. And on this notepad, I have the links, first of all, to all of my major social media profiles, because many of these websites that you set up, they're going to want the link to your Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, all that stuff. You should just have those things handy. The next thing that I have already written up is a couple of signature lines, whether it be for emails, for articles that I write, anything. Have those already set up. And the next thing and the final thing that always seemed to take me the longest amount of time is having an about me written. And you can tell one of them is shorter and one of them is very long. So I have a short version and a long version. This saves me so much time. And what you do is you just notepad and save it as something really simple that you can remember, like social media cheat sheet. So then you can just go to the search bar of your computer and type in social, and it's going to pop up every single time. and then all you have to do is copy and paste. This sounds so simple, but it's actually huge. It saved me so much time. And last but not least, you don't want to leave this part out. Keep a profile picture handy. Nobody wants to talk to this guy. If you have a profile out there and it doesn't have your information on it, if I stumble upon you, to me it just looks unprofessional. So I'm going to skip past you. You send me a message, I'm probably not going to pay attention. It's not hard to go ahead and just upload a picture. The picture you see of me speaking right now, it's just a general picture sitting in my office, and I use it for everything. I just happen to have the time to take a picture that day. I didn't want to use anything super professional because I didn't want to look intimidating, or, you just want to look like yourself. If you have fun outside, take a picture outside. It doesn't need to be anything crazy, but just having it handy so you don't have to go searching every single time. So this was a super simple tip of the week, but I love sharing tips that help people work smarter, not harder. And I can tell you from experience that this has saved me a lot of hours. So I hope that this helps you. I'm going to turn it back over to Marsha for a little mindset.
Oh, just give me a second here. Hey guys, you gotta love technology, hey? There we go. Ready, set, go. So yes, a little bit of business mindset for you tonight. This last week, something in the news caught my eye. Now, I'm not a huge news hound. It's not like I have to watch it. I'll catch it in the morning sometime, but I can go to bed at night without watching the news. I don't have to be doing it. But something in the news caught my eye. And I guess it was because a couple of years ago, I enjoyed my first cruise. So this week, when I heard about the stranded cruise ship and the horror at sea, naturally, it caught my attention. So in case you're also not a news hound and don't know what happened, there was a cruise ship that caught fire. They had a fire on board, and it was left stranded at sea for 5 days. Now, I honestly cannot imagine 4,000 people on a ship, 5 days, no power, no hot water, only a few working toilets. Yuck, you guys, the cold, the dark, the smell of sewage. It's nothing, trust me, it's nothing like the holiday that I took. What a horrible experience. Definitely not the happy vacation that these passengers who had set out 5 days earlier had expected. But thank goodness no one was seriously injured, and they all got back safe, even if they had a 5-day nightmare out at sea. The thing is, it got me thinking, many people end up floating through life in much the similar way. They think they're going to be okay, and they never plan to be stranded out at sea. Well, my question for you tonight is, do you want to just be okay, or do you want more out of life? That's a big question. It's a big loaded question. Do you want more out of life? Well, here's the thing. We tend to get comfortable with our lives, comfortable within our comfort zones, just doing what we do, and yet many times that comfort zone isn't even really comfortable. It's just familiar. It's what we're used to, and so we stay within the limits of that comfort zone. We may set big goals, and we honestly think we're moving towards them, even if days, weeks, and sometimes months go by without taking major action and actually doing what we need to do. The truth is, a game is never won by sitting on the bench. You never reap the big rewards if you sit on the bench just looking at the other players. You have to get off the bench and get into the game. Now, unless you take action, and different action from 2012, 2013 is just going to be a repeat of 2012. For most people, that's exactly what's going to happen. They stay in that comfort zone and they continue on with life and expect to change. But they're not willing to make any changes. They're not willing to step out of what's familiar. So here's another question for you. Do you want this year to be truly life-changing? I know I do. And I'm taking action to make sure that this year is different. Absolutely want this year to be totally different than last year. I myself have felt stuck in a rut at times. The fear of stepping into the unknown, you can actually get in a rut of thinking that you're moving when you're actually not. And you stay stuck in that spot year after year. Oh, you want to be successful. It's not that you don't. You want an online business. You want to have the success, the money, the freedom, whatever it is you're looking for. You want the opportunity to work from home, but you're stuck in a rut. Sometimes to succeed, your back needs to be up against the wall. You need to be of the mindset that 2013 is going to be different. And in order for that to happen, some things have to change. They require a different input. Now, number one, you, and I'm speaking as much to myself, folks, here, you need to get out of your comfort zone. You have to start doing the things that are not comfortable. You have to be willing to do the unfamiliar, and that is hard. Boy, we get so stuck in that rut that getting out of it is sometimes just the hardest thing. Number two, you have to get in the game. Really, truly get in the game, all excuses aside. How many times do we sit on the bench watching the game, getting excited about the game, but not getting off the bench to get into the game? Like I said earlier, the game can't be won from the bench. It takes action. It takes getting off the bench and into the game. Many of us want to get into the game, but there's so many excuses and they come so easy. I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a good enough player. I don't have any experience. Nobody would want to play with me. That's why you're here, folks. You're here to learn, to join a team that wants you in the game. If you don't know what you're doing, it really doesn't matter. That's what it's all about. Getting into the game simply means taking action, physically removing your bottom from the bench and moving those legs. Most people, when they first leave the bench and start playing the game, they're not pros. It all takes time. So don't be afraid to put in the hours. All pro athletes who are in the game have put in the time. You want to be successful? Don't be afraid to put in the long, hard hours, because it's going to be worth it in the end. It also takes a plan of action. You don't step out into the basketball court or ice or the field without a plan of action. What is the goal? Where are you headed? What needs to be done? These factors are all detrimental to your success. Without a plan of action, you're just one of those people wandering aimlessly at sea. Not only do you need to get in the game, but you need to get a plan of action so you know where to focus. You need to create an urgency within your business. You have to take massive, massive action. You can't mentally push yourself out of your comfort zone when you have the attitude of, oh, it's going to be okay. You have to say, no, it's not going to be okay. I'm sick of living like this. I want more out of my life. I want 2013 to be the year. I want to get off the bench and into the game. I want to design my life. I want to have full control of it. And you know, when you do this, something happens. You start seeing opportunities, your creativity sets in, and you know what? You begin to discover new energy. You can do more, you sleep less, and you get more things done. You need to take massive action and get out of your comfort zone. And the biggest thing is, you simply just need to get moving. Just like the people that were stranded in the middle of the ocean, you need to get moving to make a change. A new course needs to be set. When you start seeing some results, even if they're small ones, when you first get going, when you first start building that momentum, you believe in yourself and your ability to really do this business and be successful. And your success will shoot through the roof. And your belief in yourself. And that's the moment when everything turns around and you will never have to worry about being stranded out in the ocean, folks. You will never have to give that a second thought. But remember, the time to take action and set your course is today, not when you're hundreds of miles away from the shore. So with that, Karen, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I will let you go into a little bit of our marketing tonight. So Karen, take it away.
That was awesome, Marsha. You always make me think. I actually had a little bit of epiphany this week that is exactly what you said, and I was actually going to do a video about this. But I sat there this week and I watched my daughter, who she's 16, and she plays softball, and as Marsha knows, and anybody who's watched my videos, she's played since she was about 13, and they've had not time off, but they've been working in the gym for the winter. And this weekend is the first tournament of the year. Mind you, it's an inside tournament, but it's the first one of the year. You know, I've watched them, they're so excited, even though they have no idea how it's going to go. They have been in a gym for months working on hitting off tees, not from pitchers or anything like that. But if you see these girls, they are so excited, even though they have all this dust to shake off. They got the tournament information, and most of these teams could probably clobber them. And they don't care. They're just so excited to get in the game. That's all they care about. And when I sat there and watched them as we were putting our stuff together for this weekend of travel, I thought, why do I not approach my business that way every day with that mindset of, I'm just going to get in the game. I'm just going to have fun, because Marcia and I, we still put ourselves outside of our comfort zone constantly. You would not believe it. You will always be putting yourself a step out of your comfort zone. And even though they're probably going to be a step out of their comfort zone, they don't care. They just want to go and they want to try it, no matter how it goes. So if I just get that excited every single day, then what's the worst thing that can happen? So totally just, I don't know, you just always speak to me. We never know what each other's going to talk about. So it's always inspiring to me as well. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. And I'm going to be making a little video on that this week. So tonight, I want to cover some of the most common questions that I've gotten from all of you guys who are going through the Posting for Profits training right now. Now, some of you may not have gone through the training yet, and that's okay. This part of it actually will probably answer some of your questions and help you get started. It's really basic stuff, but it's stuff that we probably need to stop and go over and just maybe need a little run through. So I thought I would take the biggest ones I got the most of and kind of put it a little together, little Q&A for you. So as people are going through the training, question number one that I have gotten is why you use WordPress.org. And this is actually a really good question. And it's a question that I had, and I will confess that I did it the wrong way for the first 3 years that I was online. This was a question I should have been asking. But as we went through, this is actually a really simple answer. When we went through the overview of the strategy of Posting for Profits, which you can find if you weren't here for the overview call in the back office with the recorded training, or also on our training blog. But when we went through this strategy, I told you, in my personal opinion, I felt that blogging was the #1 way to brand yourself online. And my reason for that was Facebook, YouTube, and all those other things that are available to us, they're great, and I use them myself. But a blog is a very different thing. It's the only thing that you actually own on the internet. What some people don't realize is a lot of these blogging platforms out there, like Blogger and all the other ones, it's the same thing. You don't own that. At any time, they could change their terms and conditions. They could find something that they just don't like on your account and either, not post it or suspend your account or just simply close it down, which would be even worse because sometimes you put a few years into it. So you have got to be in control of your internet presence and not at someone else's mercy. And that's the only way really that you can do it. I will tell you why we chose this specific platform, but having your own self-hosted blog is crucial simply because you're in control of it. There's a lot of other reasons out there, but this is the biggest one. You need to be in control of your own business. So there's actually a couple of platforms out there who are not crazy about the home-based business industry, and I know a lot of you guys, including myself, are in that industry here on this call. So it would be kind of pointless to be setting up blogs that probably will get shut down. So that brings me to my next question, which is kind of easy to answer. It kind of goes along with some other stuff that I've had. So this will kind of run together a little bit, but that's okay. It'll all make sense. WordPress in itself is a blogging platform. But you may notice when you say WordPress, some people get confused because there's WordPress.com, which is a blogging site very similar to like Blogger or something like that. And there's WordPress.org, which is software that you put on your own domain name. So a lot of people get these confused and think, well, why can't I just use WordPress.com because it's free? Well, there's a lot of reasons that set the two apart. WordPress.org is simply just software. Like I said, it's It's the most popular blogging software, and I'll show you why in a bit because of a lot of the things that it does. It's very search engine friendly. But using WordPress.com is really no different than using any of the other blogging platforms out there. Now let me give you an analogy that'll make sense a little bit. A self-hosted WordPress blog, which is WordPress.org, is like if you went out and set up your own computer from scratch. You built it, you made it your own, you added the software that you wanted, you installed the stuff you needed, took off the stuff you didn't, and you could search the internet and look up whatever your little heart desires. Now, I'm not sure for those of you who are not in the States, actually I didn't even check with Marcia on this, she's in Canada, but here in the States, if you don't have a computer, most people go to the library. That's a good place to go and do what you need to do on a computer no matter what it is. But it's a very controlled environment. You don't have the ability to do much on the computer, and you're really restricted as to what you can do. You can't even go on the internet and look for whatever it is that you're wanting to look for all the time. You have no control over it. It's the same thing. That's the difference between WordPress.com and WordPress.org. You have no control over the look of your site, the content of your site. WordPress can even advertise on your site. And I really don't think that looks very professional. I don't want to go to someone's blog and see a bunch of advertisements that they didn't even put on there. So that's a huge difference in itself. So let me show you exactly why we use WordPress. One second, I'm going to get a drink here real quick. Sorry, my throat's been messing up. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. So again, not to be confused with WordPress.com. This is the software. I want to show you why it's so popular and why we use it. It's pretty simple. So we use it because it's free, which is always great. Google loves WordPress. And it's really easy to navigate, so you don't need to be tech savvy. It's really easy to set up. Sorry about that. And it's really easy to add to your site over time. Now, Google likes ever-changing content. That's why blogs are such a big deal. WordPress allows you to do that. And literally, if you can type in a Word document, you can blog. A lot of people, there's a lot of myths about blogging, and that's the one that really kind of annoys me because it's so simple, but people make it so complicated when it doesn't have to be, when it's such a simple strategy. So just a few things, a little blogging 101. You want to make sure that you understand. A professional domain is really important. If you go to WordPress.com, Blogger, any of these sites, you're going to have maybe yourname.blogspot.com. So someone goes out on the internet and looks for you, and here they find this website with someone else's advertising on it. Doesn't look professional. It doesn't even have your own domain name like, KarenPoor.com or MarciaNeufeld.com. In order to survive in the internet world, you have to have credibility. It's not like it was before. Even offline businesses are understanding this. When someone hears the name of whatever company, it doesn't matter what it is, they're going to go to the internet and look them up right away before they make a decision whether or not to go there. People do it even with restaurants. It's not like the old days of the Yellow Pages. The same thing happens. Maybe you send an ad out, whatever it is, and someone sees your name. First thing they're going to do is, who's this person? They're going to be like, who's Karen? Who's she? What's she doing? Can I trust her? Well, first of all, what's going to pop up? Is anything going to pop up? Because that's what Posting for Profits really is about, is making sure that you have an internet presence. And second of all, is it going to look professional? Is it going to be what you want someone to see? And one big myth in that is you don't need to be an expert to be able to have a professional looking blog. We make it really simple. And you can be blogging about things that are really simple because you're just solving other people's problems. If you think, I'm too new, I don't have answers, I don't know what I'm supposed to be posting about, your post tomorrow morning could be what you learned on this call, why someone should use a self-hosted WordPress blog versus from another site. There's a blog post for you. Why you need a professional domain, blog post for you. It's really simple. You're solving other people's problems. And to do that, you're just answering the questions you had yourself. I had these questions at one point in time. Marcia, I'm sure, had these questions at one point in time. So you don't need to be a professional. And I just always look at it this way. My mom always used to tell me this, and the same is true online. You will never get a second chance to make a good first impression. You have that one chance for someone to look at you and think, okay, are they credible? People would much rather see someone who's honest and say, hey, I'm new to the internet. Here's all these great tips that I have, than someone who's going to say, I've been on the internet for 2 years. I make, $300,000 a year. People don't want to see that. Make a good first impression. So I hope that makes sense to all of you. So let's get to the next question. How often should you post to your blog? The answer actually varies from person to person. I want you to ask yourself a couple of questions before you decide, because you do kind of need to make a decision. What's a reasonable goal for you? How much time do you actually have to spend on creating a post? And I actually have a training next week that I'm going to do where you can write an article, blog post, whatever it is, in 30 minutes or less. So for right now, give yourself 45 minutes. So how many times a week can you dedicate to doing that? It really doesn't matter what it is. It could be 3 times a week. It could be 4 times a week. It could be once a week. It really doesn't matter. The goal is that you are persistent and consistent. So if you set a goal of once a week, you need to make sure and update your blog once a week. Now, if you think you can do 3 times a week, that's cool too. Do that. There are a lot of people who take some shortcuts. I'm guilty myself sometimes if I have a Saturday or one of my kids doesn't have something going on, I may write 3 or 4 blog posts, and you can space them out to update whatever day of the week. Maybe I'm only updating twice a week, so I just covered myself for a week and a half. You can kind of think outside the box with this, but it's just really important. A busy blog is a useful blog. Blogs that are not updated frequently really don't serve a purpose, and for search engines, they just look like dead websites. So whatever you did the work to rank in, to bring in that traffic and get the profits, get all the things we're trying to teach you to do, introduce them to Online Green Profits so you can work with that person. You might have just lost all that if you don't just simply do a little bit of work each week. Maybe you only have 45 minutes once a week. That's fine. So the question really is for yourself. Stop and think, how much time do I really have to dedicate to this? And just go from there. You can always change it. You can always amp it up, whatever you want to do. So if you're feeling really overwhelmed and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know, start with once a week. That's okay. There's no reason to go out and think you need to be a master blogger who posts every day. I don't have time to post every day. So I don't want you guys to be overwhelmed by that, thinking, oh my gosh, I have to come up with all this stuff. And we'll also give you some tips through these training calls too of ways that you can get content and get ideas for content that never run out. So next, I just want to give you some tips. I'm going to clear my throat again. I apologize. So I'm sorry about that. I'm getting a cold. Okay, so the biggest thing that everyone is always scared about is the technical stuff. That's what I was scared of when I first started. And there's always technical things to every new thing that I'm learning. So everyone's scared of those things. But the setup process is really the most technical part of this training. And something that you need to remember in that is you only have to do it one time. So you don't need to master it. And I remind you of this in the training. You don't need to be a master at setting up blogs. I'm not training you guys to be professional website builders. When you get to something that you need to really work on and master, I let you know in the training. That's usually, creating a blog post. Yeah, I'm going to teach you a lot of tips on how you can come up with blog posts, how to structure them, how to do some different stuff. But do you need to know how to install a blog and set it up over and over? No. So don't let it be intimidating to you. We have set up the training where you can literally just follow along, point, click, copy, and paste. And even if you don't know, and I told you guys this last week, even if you don't know how to point, click, copy, and paste, it is okay. Go to YouTube, put that in. Someone has probably done a video for you on it. And some of you may laugh, but there are people who are very new. So all you need to do, go through the training, work as you go, and just pause the video, do what it says. Hit play. Do what the video says. Pause. Just go back and forth. Don't be intimidated by it and don't read into it, well, what is this? What is that? You don't need to know any of that stuff because you're only going to do it one time. And I've broken the training down into very small modules. One, to make it not be intimidating, and two, if you ever need to go back and want to learn something, it's really easy to find. Everything's laid out into sections, so you may need to go back and reference something that you've already been through. And it'll be easy for you to do that the way that it's set up. So this goes back to what Marcia was talking about. You always have to remember when you sit down to do anything, and that's what I was talking about earlier with, watching my daughter's team. I need to remember this when I sit down every morning with my checklist. The way that you approach something really determines how much you're overwhelmed, how happy you are, the way that you really go about a task. I created the entire training with the understanding that the person going through it would have zero experience online, none. So some of it you might be able to skip. And this is true with any of the training in the system. And the way you approach any type of training, this isn't just for posting for profits. If you go into this thinking it's going to be too hard and it's going to be overwhelming, it's going to be. That's just a simple fact. So you've got to step out of your comfort zone. Stepping out of your comfort zone is not fun, but it's okay. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? You do it wrong? Oh, well, do it over again. You really just have to take that approach. And I know that I'm making it sound easy, and I know it can be hard because I'm still in that boat all the time too. And we're always stepping out of our comfort zones. And last but not least, when it comes to posting for profits, you really don't have an excuse because I give you solutions where you can actually outsource the technical part of it. So you'll have no reason not to be setting up your prime piece of internet real estate. Sorry, I can't talk today. And so if you have questions on how you can outsource it, I have some tools that I've used, some resources. What you can do, go sign into your Online Green Profits back office, look at the very top for support, and hit open a support ticket, and just simply put posting for profits in the subject line and say, hey, I want some information on how I can outsource setting up my blog. Can you give me that? And we'll send you back a step-by-step of exactly what you need to do. And then you're not going to have to worry about it. So you really don't have any excuses, and I'm even giving you a workaround if you absolutely need it. Sometimes we get to the point where we outsource just to save time. Maybe you don't have time. That's no big deal. If you want to spend the money to outsource it, it's really not that expensive. But either way, if you approach something as it's going to be overwhelming, it's going to be. And we all know that, but we don't ever stop and really think about that. So a really easy way to get around that, especially if you're on a limited amount of time, is to go through and make a checklist and prioritize your tasks. We always talk about a daily plan of action, but sometimes there's an actual project, which I would see posting for profits as a project. The setup part is a project. It needs to be broken down maybe for you. And so you can go through the training, look at the way it's listed, and kind of write it all out, and then prioritize it and break it into separate days, especially if you're on a limited amount of time. Each night you can do this specific thing. And if you are on a really limited amount of time, this is a great strategy for you. It really is, because, this is something that people can do when they come home from work. Take a little time, type in their little Word document, publish, move on. It's really simple. I personally think it's easier than going out and, trying to start conversations with 50 people on Facebook. Not that I don't like using Facebook. If you're on a limited amount of time, find strategies that work for what you have so you can get to where you don't have a limited amount of time anymore. So I'm sorry for my throat being the way that it is. And I hope that makes sense to you guys. You guys keep the questions coming. You can always go to the training blog, post your questions there. You can send them through support. Whatever you need, we are here to help you. And I hope you guys are enjoying the training. Had lots of fun doing it. I'm going to have lots of fun adding to it too for you guys. So thanks for coming. It was great to have you all here. And I'm going to send it over to Marcia to see if she has any last thing she wants to add.
Well, as always, that was awesome, Karen. I know I sure learned a lot. Karen is the pro when it comes to blogging. She knows her stuff, and we're just privileged to be able to have her share it with us. So that's awesome. Thanks, Karen, so much for sharing with us again. And make sure that you check out your members area. We've got the new information back there, and it's all by video, as is everything else. So yeah, that's what we had for you this evening. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to sign up for your members alerts in your back office. Keep reminding your new people to do this, because that is the only way that we can send you the information about these calls. And that's also where we will notify you of everything else that goes on here. Visit our blog too. We have a blog which is updated often. So I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. As always, every Wednesday night at 9 Eastern, tell your team about it and just show up on the call. We always have some information that we can pass on to you that we've learned throughout the week. And so great opportunity. I want to thank you again, Karen.